I run a 180-acre ranch just south of city limits with a view that makes postcard photographers jealous and land fertile enough to grow money trees if I ever planted them. I've got longhorn cattle fatter than your uncle's Thanksgiving belly, 2 dozen prized Andalusian horses, and a barn worth more than the HOA president's house. My ranch is a well-oiled machine, running smoother than their HOA meetings ever did, thanks to a little thing called actual management skills. I pay my taxes, fix my own fences, and owe nobody a dime. Welcome to Prodigy Tales. Make sure you like and subscribe for your top-notch HOA drama. I built everything here from dirt and sweat, and not once have I ever been under any HOA jurisdiction. That's because my land predates the HOA's creation by 30 years. When they were still arguing over mailbox colors, I was already riding fence lines, branding calves, and setting up smart irrigation systems that made their little xeriscape lawns look like abandoned alleyways. My ranch isn't even within their imaginary fence lines. I'm outside their range, legally, geographically, and spiritually. But just because I'm not part of their cardboard kingdom doesn't mean I live in peace. Oh no, they hate that I'm thriving without their sticker policies and boring newsletters. Some of the older HOA members used to wave politely when they drove by. Some even bought beef from me. But lately, ever since the neighborhood up the road grew and their board got thirstier for power, I started noticing longer stares, slower drives past my gates, and whispers that smelled like trouble. Still, I kept my boots muddy and my head down. My cows were content, my crops were lush, and the monthly ranch income kept rolling in like clockwork. The best part? Not a single HOA rule applied to me. I had my own well, my own private electric hookup, even my own trash haul. I was a self-sufficient outlaw in the eyes of their little suburban empire, and they hated it. But as long as they stayed on their side of the boundary line, I didn't care. But they weren't going to stay put forever, especially not once she took over. The HOA board had a little shakeup. The previous president, Dave, a guy who knew how to mind his own business and occasionally bought eggs from my stand, stepped down. Maybe he got bored, maybe he realized trying to herd HOA members was like wrangling drunk raccoons with clipboards. Either way, his replacement strutted in like she was running for dictator. Karen. Blonde bob. Yoga pants. Aviators indoors. A voice that could peel paint off a barn wall. First time she came by, she didn't introduce herself. Just parked her shiny white Escalade half across my gravel driveway, strutted out like she was auditioning for some Real Housewives knockoff, and started waving a clipboard. Hello, I'm the new HOA president, and I just wanted to drop off your past due balance. She sang like she was doing me a favor. I leaned on my fence, arms crossed, stared her down. I think you've got the wrong ranch. She squinted like she smelled manure. This is 4327 Lariat Ridge, correct? That's right. Then you owe 3 months of HOA dues plus a fine for your non-compliant fencing, oversized vehicle storage, and unauthorized livestock. I blinked. Lady, I'm not in your HOA. Never have been. Your boundary stops 2 miles before my land begins. She laughed. Like I told her the cows were about to start voting. Oh, honey, that's an old map. The HOA recently voted to expand. We now include all properties along Lariat Ridge. I chuckled right back, slow and deep. Karen, your HOA can vote to include Mars for all I care. My land isn't up for grabs. You've got no jurisdiction here. Her smile dropped faster than a cell signal during a thunderstorm. If you refuse to cooperate, we'll take necessary enforcement action. You do that, I said, tipping my hat, and I'll take it to court. You step 1 inch onto my land without a legal right, and you'll be trespassing. She stomped off, muttering something about compliance procedures. I thought that would be the end of it. But no, Karen wasn't done, not by a long shot. It started the next morning. I woke up to the sound of one of my ranch hands yelling. I ran outside, thinking a calf had gotten loose again, but nope. Karen had kicked it up a notch. She'd plastered fluorescent orange stickers all over my property. My mailbox was wrapped like a warning sign. My trucks had bright red notices slapped across the windshields that read, "Final warning, power cut scheduled. Pay your dues or face legal consequences." I tore one off my truck and squinted at it. It had a fake seal that said Lariat Ridge HOA Enforcement Department. It looked official if you didn't know any better, which I did. This wasn't just annoying anymore, it was personal. Karen wanted a war, and she just fired the first real shot. My ranch hands stood around watching like a Western standoff was about to break loose. I handed them box cutters. Strip every last sticker. Don't leave one. By sundown, we'd peeled her nonsense off everything from my power poles to my dog's kennel. I even found one inside the chicken coop, taped to a feeder. The nerve. The next day, more stickers. Bigger ones. She escalated fast, like a toddler throwing a tantrum with a label maker. She even paid some poor soul to sneak onto my back fence and staple laminated signs that read, "Non-compliant property, notice of pending utility termination." I caught him mid-staple. He nearly tripped over his own feet trying to explain. She said she had legal rights. I didn't know. Don't press charges. I let him go with a warning, but Karen, she'd just officially crossed the line into criminal territory. I got on the phone with my lawyer that same afternoon. "You've got grounds for a harassment suit," he said. "Multiple, in fact, and if she actually tries to cut off your utilities, that's attempted sabotage. Let her try. Document everything." So I started snapping photos, security footage, dated signs. I even kept the stickers in a shoebox labeled Karen's Crimes. But what really got my blood boiling? The next letter. A printed legal-looking notice shoved under my gate saying she'd reported me for theft of utilities. It was game time now. Court day rolled in like a storm cloud with thunder already rumbling. Karen showed up in a white power suit like she was headed to the Oscars, not small claims. She had a stack of fake invoices in one hand and a smug look glued to her face. Her little HOA entourage sat behind her, whispering and giggling like this was some school play. I walked in wearing my usual boots and a clean button-up, armed with nothing but a thick binder labeled Evidence of Delusion. When the judge asked Karen to explain her complaint, she launched into a dramatic monologue. "Your Honor, the defendant has refused to pay 3 months' worth of homeowner dues, has livestock in violation of our community code, and has disrespected the authority of the Lariat Ridge HOA repeatedly." The judge tilted his glasses down. "And this property is part of your HOA?" She grinned. "Yes, we voted to expand our boundary lines to include his land." "Did the county approve this expansion?" Karen blinked. "Excuse me?" The judge repeated himself, slower this time. "Did the county approve the expansion?" Karen fumbled, stammered, then whispered something to her lawyer, who turned visibly pale. I opened my binder and slid over a stamped map showing my land, clearly outside HOA jurisdiction. I followed that with dated photos, video clips of her hired goons stapling notices to my fence, security footage of sticker slapping, and a signed affidavit from the power company confirming she'd filed a fraudulent complaint against me. Karen tried to object, but the judge cut her off. "Ma'am, you've trespassed, harassed, submitted false documents, and threatened to illegally terminate utilities to a property you have zero legal authority over. Not only are your claims dismissed, but I'm slapping you with a civil penalty." She gasped. "But he owes." "Not a dime. In fact, you now owe him damages for harassment, defamation, and attempted utility interference. And I suggest you lawyer up for the criminal charges that may follow. The number? $275,000 in damages, payable in 30 days. Her face cracked like dropped porcelain. HOA board members shrank in their seats. Karen's mouth opened, but no sound came out. She'd finally hit a wall she couldn't bulldoze with paperwork. The end. Please like and subscribe for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think Karen got what she deserved? Comment below.